Introduction to Euclid's Geometry by Pragna J. Anchan. You can see geometry everywhere. Geometry is used in nature, space, art, architecture, and many more. Geometry was being applied and derived from the ancient time. At this time, all the development were passed on to the next generation without being discussed or proved. Do you know the great mathematician Thales? He was the first mathematician who gave the known proof in geometry. Euclid, a teacher of mathematics in Egypt, assembled all the known work of plane geometry and 3D geometry in one book. And name of that book is Elements. It is being divided into 13 chapters. Each chapter is called as book. Elements contains almost everything about plane geometry, sphere, cone, and other 3D figures. That is why Euclid is known as father of geometry. In this chapter, you will study about Euclid's approach to geometry. Let's start. Here you will study about Euclid's definition and relate them with the real life. Terms which were left undefined and the reason for doing so. Meaning of the term axiom, postulate, and theorem. Axioms and postulate and their application for proving other results. Two equivalent versions of Euclid's fifth postulate. Here you will be studying in detail about Euclid's geometry. In later grade you will study about non-Euclidean geometry, which will be the focus. Studying geometry improves logical reasoning, analytical reasoning, problem-solving skill, especially in the fields like robotic engineering and sea archaeology. In the ancient days, maths were invented especially for counting the things and measuring. For counting, plus, minus, into, divide, our ancestors have developed various ways. We call it as algebra. In case of measuring things, they first measured land. This is called, and this concept of measuring is called as geometry. Where geo means earth and metry means to measure. But geo is not only for measuring land, but it's far more beyond. Geometry is about proving certain statement. Great mathematician Thales, who gave the first proof on a circle, is bisected by its diameter. After this proof, his pupil Pythagoras did extension work on geometry, which continued till 300 BC. At the same time of around 300 BC, Euclid, also working on geometry, he is known to be the father of geometry. He collected all the well-known facts and formed his famous treatise. All these elements have been written in the book, which is divided into 13 parts, and all these books have a great impact on the field of geometry. Let's learn Euclid's approach to geometry connected with today what we learn as geometry. Euclid's geometry was an abstract model of the surrounding of that time. Now you may wonder, what is abstract model? It means that it was all his thought just by looking at surrounding, and it does not have any concrete existence. Point, line, surface, and various other things were derived just by looking things present in the world. Let us take an example of solid cube. It has 6 surfaces, each surface with 4 sides and each side with 2 points. Here the solid is 3D, surface is 2-dimensional, line is 1 dimension and point does not have any dimension. Euclid gave 23 definitions in his book Element, which are too complicated and tedious. Let's look into few of them to understand Euclid's thought. A point is that which has no part. A line is a breadthless length. That means it has only length and does not have breadth. The ends of line are points. You can make out in the figure. The edges of a surface are line. A surface is that which has length and breadth, both are there, will be available in the surface. A straight line is a line which has a point which are evenly distributed. A plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with a straight line on itself. Line is consist of points within itself and surface is consisting of line within itself. You can make out certain terms in the definitions like part, breadth, length, which are need to be defined. But we may never be able to stop if we start defining those words. So mathematicians decided to leave certain terms as undefined. The terms like part, breadth, length, point are undefined terms which can be explained with various object or physical model. Euclid also assumed some properties which were not to be proved. Not to be proved? That means it does not require any proof because they were obviously universal truth. He divided these properties into 2 different types: assumptions which are made strictly to geometry and assumptions which are based on general mathematics. Assumptions which are made strictly on geometry is called postulate, and assumptions to all branches of mathematics are called axioms. In your next class, you will be studying about these axioms and postulates in detail. Thank you.